So this is test 4 of last year, 2022. We'll just go through the questions and see how you're supposed to answer questions like this. So 1.1 says you're given two vectors, A and B. 1.1.1, it says find the unit vector or vectors perpendicular to A. So what you would do is this vector that you're looking for, you can call it U. So this is 1.1. You call it U. And U, you can write it as X, Y. Now, what we are told is that it is a unit vector, and a unit vector has a magnitude of 1. So that means the magnitude of U, this is equal to the square root of X squared plus Y squared, and this is equal to 1. This means that X squared plus Y squared is equal to 1. So if you square both sides. Then the second thing you are told is that it is perpendicular to A. And what we know about vectors is that vectors that are perpendicular have a dot product of 0. Okay, so A, so since U is perpendicular to A, then A dot U is equal to 0. So we have X, Y dot 4 minus 3. This should give us 0. So we know how to do the dot product. We have 4x minus 3y. This is equal to 0. So I have these two equations. What I then do is I solve them simultaneously. So from here, I can make y the subject of the formula. So I have 3y is equal to 4x. And then y is equal to 4 over 3x. Then I take this and I substitute it in there. So I'll have x squared plus 4 over 3x squared. And this is equal to 1. Okay, so this gives us x squared plus 16x squared over 9. This is equal to 1. So these two would add them together. 1 plus 16 over 9, 25 over 9. This means x squared is equal to 9 over 25. And then we solve for x. We have x is equal to plus or minus 3 over 5. Okay, so now that we have our x, y is equal to 4 over 3 times 3 over 5. So this will give us, the 3's will cancel. We have 4 over 5. So our first unit vector, U1, this will be 3 over 5, 4 over 5. And then the second one is when x is equal to minus 3 over 5, y is equal to 4 over 3 times minus 3 over 5, which is negative 4 over 5. So U1 is this, and then the second unit vector that is perpendicular to A is minus 3 over 5 minus 4 over 5. Okay, so you can work out the unit vector of, work out the modulus of this vector. You'll see it is a unit vector, same as this one. And then if you take the dot product with A, they are in fact perpendicular. Okay, the next question says find the angle between A and B. So we have our vector A. B is 2, 4. So we want the angle between them. And the formula for working out the angle between two vectors is simple, where cos of theta is equal to A dot B over the modulus of A times the modulus of B. Okay, so when we work this out, A dot B, we're 4 times 2 plus -3 times 4. And this is all divided by the square root of 4 squared plus -3 squared multiplied by the square root of 2 squared plus 4 squared. So this you just type in on your calculator exactly the way I have it. Okay, so this gives us -2 root 5 over 25. Okay, and then to find theta here, normally when we're solving a trigonometric equation, you would do the steps that I told you about. You would find the reference angle, decide what quadrants it's in, take it to the quadrants, and then solve in that manner. But here, our angle is either in the first or the second quadrant, and because this is negative, you can just take cos inverse on both sides. Okay, so doing that, we have cos inverse, and this is 100.3 degrees. Next question. If the velocity of a body is given by v is equal to 8t minus 3t squared, find the acceleration at time t. So the acceleration, we know this is the derivative of the velocity with respect to time. So this is, you just differentiate, this is 8 minus 60, and this is meters per second squared. Don't forget the units. And then 1.2.2, it says find the distance traveled during the second. So you need to know what that means. So time will start from 0, then you have the first second or 1 second, then 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and so on. So from here, from 0 until it reaches 1 second, that is the first second. And then from 1 to 2, this is the second. So imagine if this were classes, you had your first class starts from 0 to 1, and the second class will be from 1 to 2, and so on. So the second is from 1 to 2. And since we're looking for the displacement, we have to integrate the velocity. So this is the integral of the velocity from t1 to t2 of v dt. So that's the general formula. So our lower limit is 1, and then upper limit is 2, and then we put the formula for the velocity, t squared dt. This is 8t squared over 2 minus 3t cubed over 3 from 1 to 2. So this is 4t squared minus t cubed from 1 to 2. And now we substitute. This is 4 times 2 squared minus 2 cubed minus 4 times 1 squared minus 1 cubed. Okay, so that you do in your calculator. Okay, and you should get 5. So this is 5 meters. Make sure you include the units. Okay, then question 2. Okay, it says the gradient of a curve at the point xy on the curve is given by 2x minus 4. If the minimum value of y is 3, find the equation of the curve. So what we need to do is always read the question carefully and make sure you understand the words that are in the question. So the first thing we're told is we have a gradient. So we know that our gradient, the slope, that is dy dx. So dy dx is equal to 2x minus 4. And then the minimum value of y is 3. Now we know that at the minimum, dy dx, this is equal to 0. So that is something we know about the derivative, because when we're trying to find the minimum or the maximum, we differentiate, we equate to 0, and then we solve. So this time we are given the derivative already. We are told what the y value is when the when the function is a minimum. So what we do is we solve. So we have 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. So 2x is equal to 4. That means x is equal to 2. So this is the x value when y is the minimum. So that means when x is 2, then y is equal to 3. So to find the equation of the curve, we have to integrate. Y is equal to the integral of 2x minus 4 dx. This is 2x squared over 2 minus 4x plus c. So this is x squared, y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus c. And now we want to solve for this constant of integration. We do that by substituting x is 2 and y is 3. So we have 3 is equal to 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus c. This means that c is equal to 3. So the equation is y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3. Find the area enclosed between the curves. So here, normally what you would do is you would sketch the two curves and then see which one is on top and which one is below. But because here these are two parabolas, this parabola here, because the coefficient of x squared is positive, it opens upwards. And then this one here, because the coefficient of x squared is negative, means it opens downwards. So you have something like this. What you need to work out are these points of intersection. And then this area that is enclosed between them will be the integral of the graph above minus the graph below, integrated from the first limit point to the second. So to find our points of intersection, we equate the two. So we say x squared minus 4x. This is equal to 6x minus x squared. So everything on one side, we have 2x squared minus 10x. This is equal to 0. This means x squared minus 5x is equal to 0. So x minus 5 is equal to 0. This means x is equal to 0. or x is equal to 5. So those are our points of intersection. And now the area, we're going to integrate from 0 to 5. We say the one above. So the one above is the 6x minus x squared, and the one below is the x squared minus 4x. So we say 6x minus x squared minus x squared minus 4x, and this we integrate with respect to x. This is the integral from 0 to 5. We have 6x minus negative 4x. This is 10x. And then minus x squared minus x squared. This is minus 2x squared dx. So this gives us 10x squared over 2 minus 2x cubed over 3, integrated from 0 to 5. So this is 5x squared minus 2 over 3x cubed from 0 to 5. Okay, so this is 5 times 5 squared minus 2 over 3 times 5 cubed minus 5 times 0 squared minus 2 over 3 times 0 cubed. So this part here I didn't need to write because I can see it's all just going to end up as 0. So I could have just put minus 0, but there's no harm in also writing all of this. So this you just do on your calculator. 5 times 5 cubed, that's 125 minus 2 over 3 times 125, and this gives us 125 over 3. This is 125 over 3, and then you write units squared. Okay, just something I realized over here, the value of C is not correct. Okay, so C, I think, good thing here. So we have 3 is equal to 4 minus 8 plus C. So this means that C is equal to, here we have negative 4. When it goes this side, we have 7. Okay, so the answer here should actually be 7. Okay, so just be careful when doing questions like that. Okay, our next question. An open metal tank with a square base is made from 12 meters squared of sheet metal. Find the dimensions of the tank for the volume of the tank to be maximum and determine its maximum volume. So with this, you should always try and draw a sketch so you understand what is given. So you have a sheet like this. So you have a sheet of metal like this, and this is 12 meters squared. So you are going to fold it and make a tank that looks something like this. Okay, so this is the tank that you are going to make. So it says that it is open, so that means at the top here, there's nothing. Okay, so it has 1, 2 at the back, 3, 4 at the sides, and then 1 at the bottom. So there's only 5 parts made of metal. The top is open. It says it has a square base. So if this is x, then that is x. And then the height we can call y. Now, find the dimensions of the tank to be, so the volume. Okay, so we want a maximum volume. So what we do is we write down the equation for the volume. So the volume is length, breadth, height. So this is x times x times y. And this we want to maximize. Now you always need to remember the steps. When we're maximizing, differentiate, equate to 0, second derivative, check, all of that. So it doesn't matter how the question is, the steps are always the same. If you remember, I just need to follow the steps, you'll always get to the right answer. So don't try and come up with your own way of solving it, especially at this stage. When you're advanced further in mathematics, yeah, maybe you'll come up with your own way. But for this course, stick to the methods that we're given here. Okay, now we want the area. Well, we know that the area is 12, and if we work out this total surface area, this front is x times y. So we have x, y, and then there's two of them because there's a front and the back. And then we have the sides, this one here, which is x times y, and then there's that one there as well. So this is 2xy. And then we have the base, which is x squared. Okay, so when we just rewrite this, this is x squared plus 4xy, and this is equal to 12. Okay, because we're told that it is made up of 12 meters squared of sheet metal. So all the surfaces added up together should add up to 12. So what we do from here is we're going to make y the subject of the formula. So y is equal to 12 minus x squared divided by 4x. And then this y over here, we are going to substitute it into the formula for the volume, because the volume is in terms of two variables, in terms of x and y. So we can't differentiate that one because it has two variables. So what you need to do is have another equation where you can make one of the variables in terms of the other. Then you substitute into the first one so that it's in terms of only one variable, and then you can differentiate, equate to 0, test using the second derivative, and so on. So this is x squared multiplied by 12 minus x squared over 4x. So this x goes there once, cancels with that one. So the x will then multiply inside. We have 12x minus x cubed over 4. Okay, and we can rewrite this as 3x minus x cubed over 4. Okay, so this is our formula for the volume. Now it has only one variable. Then we proceed to solve it as we do when we're maximizing. We will differentiate. So we find dv dx. This is 3 minus 3x squared over 4. Then we will equate the derivative to 0. So we know that at the maximum, dv dx is equal to 0. So we say 3 minus 3 over 4, x squared is equal to 0. So this means 3 over 4, x squared is equal to 3. This means x squared over 4 is equal to 1. So x squared is equal to 4. So we have x is equal to plus or minus 2. Now remember, this x is the length of the base. So we know that the base must have a positive length because length cannot be negative. So we say since x is a length, x must be greater than 0, and therefore x is equal to 2. Now we want to test, does this in fact give us the maximum volume? So we find the second derivative. Okay, so we take our first derivative and we differentiate it. The derivative of 3 is 0. Then here we will have minus 6x over 4. This is minus 3x over 2. Then we substitute. we'll have minus 3 over 2 times 2. This is negative 3. That's less than 0. Less than 0 means we have a maximum. Okay. Then now we answer the question. What did the question say we must do or find? It says determine the maximum volume. Okay. So the formula for the volume, this is equal to, here it is when it was just in terms of x, 3x minus x cubed over 3. Right, then we substitute 3 times 2 minus 2 cubed over 4. So this is 6 minus 8 over 4, and this is equal to 4 meters cubed. Okay, so every other question that you are given, you would solve it in pretty much the same way. So try and remember the steps. It's more important to remember the steps than to try and memorize, I don't know, a particular answer. If you know the steps, you just follow them. It doesn't matter what the question looks like. Okay, for the last question, 3.1, we have some integrals to evaluate. We have the integral of 3 over, here the cube root of x I can write as x to the power of 1 over 3. And then I have x to the power of 1 over 3 dx. Okay, so rewriting this again, I have the integral of 3x to the power of minus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3 times x to the power of 1 over 3 dx. So this is 3x to the power of, at the top I add 1, so I get 2 over 3, and then I divide by 2 over 3. Then I have 1 over 3 x to the power of 4 over 3 divided by 4 over 3, and then don't forget your constant of integration. So I'd say leave your answer in surd form. So this 3 divided by 2 over 3 is 9 over 2, and then this is the cube root of x squared. Then 1 over 3 divided by 4 over 3, that is, get the reciprocal of this. So you have 1 over 4. And then the cube root of x to the power of 4 plus c. So you're leaving it in surd form. Okay, for the last question, what you need to remember is we are integrating with respect to x. So that means d here is a constant, e to the power of 2t is a constant. So this whole term here is actually a constant. So our integral here, we just need to refer to the table. This is e to the power of 5x divided by 5. And then here the constant 6 will come out, and then we have ln of 7 minus 8x, and then multiplied by minus 1 over 8. Again, from the table, you need to remember how to integrate according to the table. And we say this is a constant. Why is it a constant? There's no x, so you can write it as d plus e to the power of 2t times x, and then don't forget your c. Then just rewriting this so it looks a little bit better. I have 1 over 5 e to the power of 5x minus, going to be minus, and multiply this and this. That's minus 3 over 4. ln of 7 minus 8x plus d plus e to the power of 2tx plus c. So you can also multiply the x out, but leaving it like this is also fine.